Hi, everyone. My name's Britton Klein, Ad Sales Manager, and welcome to this week's edition of Marketing Minutes by Scuba Diving Industry Magazine.
And I'm William Klein, publisher, and if you're a scuba-related company out there and like to be on our show, reach out to Britton and I. We'd love to have you as a guest on Marketing Minutes. So who do we have today, Britton?
Yes, so today we have one of our regular writers, the director of Dive Queensland in Australia, and the owner of a tourism consulting company, Dr. Terry Cummins. So, Dr. Terry, welcome to the show.
Well, thanks so much for having me. It's really exciting to be here in live video.
Well,
it's fantastic.
We love
right across the world.
I know, it's
That's right.
amazing technology. So Terry and his wife Kathy have given us actually two photos for our covers. And I was just looking at a photo today, Terry, that I think is going to be your third one coming up maybe November. But the photo on the right, the one from February 25, was shot by Terry of his wife Kathy, if I got that correct. And
Yeah, sure do.
Yep. And then the one on the left, which is the July 24, was shot by Kathy. So incredible photos. I mean, the reef diversity is so beautiful. And Terry and I actually met in Kuwait years ago. We were on a sales trip and ended up meeting there, and then flew to Sharm el-Sheikh and went diving in the Red Sea. And what's interesting is this is the photo that graces our trade show display. And it's of Terry's back there in the background, those little shadows back there when we were diving out on Ras Mohammed, as I recall, National Park. So we have a little bit of shared history, so I can't wait to jump into today's show.
That's right. It's going to be a great one. But Terry, could you start us off just by telling our audience a little bit about your history in diving and maybe how your consulting firm was established, as well as your involvement with Dive Queensland?
Yeah, I'd love to do that. But first, as part of the introduction on how we went diving together, William, I think the funniest thing of that whole trip was you and I appearing on Good Morning Kuwait. And
yeah, that was great. So funny.
Yeah, talking about sharks in Arabic wasn't one of our skill sets.
That was great trip. And I actually love the food that Al served us at his house. And then when we went to Sharm and we went over we did the Blue Hole at Dahab.
Wow.
It was just a remarkable, very, very short trip, but boy, we packed a lot in there, didn't we?
Cinematic.
It was
Yeah,
great.
we sure did. And we didn't get shot. So that was pretty good.
That's a beautiful trip.
Yeah, it was really quite remarkable.
Yeah. So I've been in the dive industry for many, many years, too many years. In fact, I only worked it out the other day that I've been a diving professional for 52 years.
52, wow.
And I've absolutely loved the journey. I've had a fantastic experience through my whole life. Of course, I established PADI in the South Pacific, and I went on to work in the United States as one of their vice presidents for quite some time.
I didn't realize that you were over here. Wow.
Yeah. Well, I used to go back and forward a lot, and frequent flyer points went through the roof. But basically, it was a great time there. I had great staff, great people working around me. I learned a hell of a lot. And after their restructure, I left PADI and went into consulting, and that included a lot of dive operators that just want a little bit more detail in some of the kind of activities they were involved in. And the short story was that in 2017, I got headhunted by one of our local universities, and they wanted me to come in and do my PhD to capture some of that historical knowledge that I had. And I did my PhD on the sustainability of recreational scuba diving in the Great Barrier Reef. And so that led to a lot of data collecting, which I do share with my clients and members of Dive Queensland. So that's the short version. I've kind of been involved with Dive Queensland right back in 1988. And this might interest some of your viewers. Back then, there was a couple of incidents on the reef, a couple of fatalities, and the government came in typical style and wanted to legislate everything. So Dive Queensland was born out of sort of a way of forcing a little bit of collaboration between governments and the operators. And so that sort of went on to form a code of practice, which we have today. It's been modified several times. Just after COVID was our last review. And initially, the local dive community was very anti having laws and codes
Right.
to govern their activities, but they soon learnt to live with it. And today they do a fantastic job of working with occupational health and safety, and making sure that the divers that come to Australia, whether they be snorkelers, scuba divers, or technical divers, work under the code. And so the quick story there too was that what I basically did was work with Dive Queensland, and eventually moved up to chair that organisation. And then what we did was we decided that to raise some capital, similar to other organisations, the dive industry became a private partnership. And Kathy and I actually run it. We've got a little board of advisors that help us out, and we produce a quarterly magazine that goes out to all of our members. We have Facebook and various other things. We attend trade shows locally, and some we've done overseas as well. We have done the DEMA show in the past, so we're looking forward to doing that next year. And that's the way it's all run out. And so
That's amazing.
we represent about 140 products now
Wow.
across the reef, from far north right down to our border, and some of our national contributors to the dive industry, including manufacturers and travel agents, are also members of Dive Queensland. And our most recent project is really just getting our new website up, which will happen in the next couple of weeks. So I'll let you know about that
That'd
when
be
it comes
great.
That's
out.
awesome.
That'd be great. So, we've been just absolutely mesmerized by these
Enamored.
videos
Yeah, it's
and the photos that I know that come from your wife and yourself. Let's talk about the state of the Great Barrier Reef, because there's a lot of misinformation out there, from what I gather. You've done a few articles for us on specifically on this topic, and I think it's worth clarifying that there's some reports that have come out saying that the reef's not in as good a shape as it is. So
mm.
maybe you can address that, since you've spent a great deal of your PhD time on that reef, specifically from a scientific and an educational standpoint.
Yeah, it's a really interesting thing that we're looking at the moment. Obviously, we're not climate change deniers at Dive Queensland or any of the operators on the Great Barrier Reef. In fact, many of our operators are actually involved very, very much in doing restoration of coral reefs, and working against the crown of thorns starfish infestation that breaks out every now and again. But more specifically on your question, just only a few weeks ago, we got an inquiry through our Facebook page. A lady had booked several trips on the Great Barrier Reef and was about to cancel them because of the media that was coming out of the United States, that the reef was all dead.
Yeah.
And we were able to counter that and direct her to read some more objective publications. Look, at the end of the day, the reefs all over the world are under threat. But what we're very, very proud of down under is the fact that we have the best management system in the world. And I'm not being arrogant by saying that. I've talked to other people that are also people that contribute to your great magazine about just the projects we're doing over here to help basically counter some of the threats of climate change and natural outbreaks like the COTS, crown of thorns starfish, that also eat the reef. But the best thing to do is to sort of think about the Great Barrier Reef as something that's 2,300 kilometres long. And so what tends to happen with media is, if we do get an outbreak somewhere along that great length, they latch onto it, because unfortunately a lot of media like to talk about negatives rather than the positives. But as you can see in a lot of the photos and videos that we send over from time to time to your great publication, most of the reef is really great. And to kind of end that bit, one of the things about the most recent report that the media latched onto was about, a decline in coral cover. What they didn't mention was that slight decline came off a 34-year high of coral cover.
Wow.
And so basically, the reef is in sensational condition. And a lot of that is because of the management structure that the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority and the tourism operators, some of our members, a lot of our members indeed, are working out there all the time, monitoring the reef, doing transects. We have a fantastic program at Great Barrier Reef Marine Park called Eye on the Reef. And Eye on the Reef is a science type computer generated thing where you can actually put your photos and your encounters in
Wow.
there. So we're monitoring with thousands of tourists going onto the reef right along its 2,300 kilometre length. What's going on there all the time.
That's
Wow.
So,
amazing.
you know,
That's seriously cool.
That's great. We're being treated to some amazing footage of some photos that have been flashing by here. We're going to continue to watch a few more.
That's right.
Well, we can.
So as
well,
fascinating,
one other
Sure.
thing I'd like to say is it's not all about the Great Barrier Reef in Queensland.
that's right.
Our coastline is absolutely massive, and I think it's something like 8,000 kilometres of coast. And we've got diving like down in the south. We've got our, Lady Elliot Island and places like that. We've got massive encounters with manta rays, and we've got great wrecks all the way down to Brisbane, our capital, and around Mooloolaba and places like that. So it's not just all about coral and fish and things like that. We've got some fantastic variety in our diving as well.
Totally. And that's honestly a great lead into this next question. So why should companies in the Queensland region join or be a part of Dive Queensland?
Well, the one thing is that we're probably the only people in our country that are actually communicating with our
Hmm.
members or for the dive industry in a positive and consistent way and a continuous way. I was told by our IT people the other day we're putting up too many posts on our Facebook page, but we like to keep people informed. And one of the reasons that we do that is that we feature our members. Dive Queensland's not about me, it's about our members. And basically, that is the thing that attracts them the most. We put up little things like how the weather is down in Mooloolaba, for example, how the weekend looks for diving. We might put up something up in Cairns, where I live, about a special offer by one of our members that's just had a cancellation. I mean, all those sorts of things we do, but we also go to the dive show, and we just came off that last month. We had a fantastic show in Sydney. We did a booth share with 3 of our members, and we had 11 of our members exhibit
Very
individually. And
cool.
for a
Wow.
small country like ourselves, that was kind of a fantastic thing. Our most recent project is we were doing right across Queensland a film by Dr. Richard Harris, who is the famous
Yeah, from the
diver from the
Thai.
Cave
Yeah,
Rescue.
That's
yeah.
right.
Yep. And Richard's got a movie out called, or a documentary called Deep, and Dive Queensland's helping to promote that. So we keep the interest going in the sport, or if we want to call it a sport. But
Do you know
our
Do you know Dr. Harris
oh, yeah.
personally?
Oh, absolutely.
Well, will you
Harry's
mention to
always,
him we'd love to have him on our show?
yeah, I
Then
could.
you could talk about his
When
film
we,
and all that.
yeah, it'd be fantastic to have Harry there. He's quite a character, and he's got a lot of humour in his background as well. But some of the things that he's done in terms of technical diving, especially, are outstanding. He's a world authority on that much.
Wow. Yeah, we'd love to have him on the show. So I'm going to ask you a
Absolutely.
2-part question. One, where's your favorite diving, if you could choose a day? And 2, what do you see the future of diving on the Great Barrier Reef looks like?
Fantastic questions and hard questions. That one, the first one, I get asked a lot. What's your favorite dive location? And even though I'm not a big alcohol consumer, I might tell you that it's a little bit like wine. It depends on what you're eating, how you feel at the time, and
Good. Interesting.
how you choose. And for me, with a background in cave diving and all sorts of other things, I really don't have a favorite dive activity, but I do have obviously a favorite dive location, and that is the Coral Sea. I spend a fair bit of time out there because I can leave locally from Cairns. It's an overnight steaming, and once you're out there, the visibility is rarely under 30 or 40 meters. Big schools of fish. It's an untouched paradise. And two of our members, Spirit of Freedom and Mike Ball Dive Expeditions, go out there every week with passengers, and I've never seen anyone come back and complain. I mean, it's just amazing, and in fact, that photo of Kathy that you put up earlier was taken at one of our favorite dive spots out there.
Wow, that's amazing. That's amazing.
Yeah. And in terms of the future of the Great Barrier Reef, I think the answer to that question is that we're trying to establish new initiatives all the time. I sit on two committees for the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park Authority. One, I chair the local one for Cairns, Advisory Committee, but I'm also on their track committee, which is made up of their tourism operators right along the whole length of the Great Barrier Reef Marine Park. And we've got a meeting coming up next week, and we talk about the issues, we talk about the initiatives that we've launched, and all that goes towards looking after the reef as best we can. And it's revealing some amazing stuff, like some of the resilience of the corals, even the fact that just more recently they've found new species. And you would think after all the species that have been studied out there, you wouldn't think there would be many left. But we're still finding new stuff, and we're really keeping an eye on it. And I think that's the best we can do, given the larger and broader problem of climate change and global world population expansion and coastal development.
Yeah, that affects everybody. So, Terry, thank you for being on the show. It's such a pleasure. Please tell your wife that we said thank you and hello, and I'm going to challenge both of you to write some more for us, because I love your style. I love your articles. We did find a photo of one that Kathy had submitted back in August that I think I'm going to run by you about maybe one of our upcoming covers. So, Britton, who do we got lined up for the next show?
That's right. So our next guest is our own Tet Clark of Scuba Guru Academy. He's an awesome writer. He's a great podcast host, and he does a lot of training-related projects in this industry. So it'll be really,
I agree.
Really great conversation.
It's going to be a great show. So thanks again, Terry. That's going to do it for today's show. You can go to our website, scubadivingindustry.com.
That's right.
All our back issues, all the episodes of the show, and maybe we'll see you in Australia sometime.
That's right.
Terry.
Well, you're being invited. We're waiting for you to come down and actually fulfill that wish.
Thanks.